Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be checking out some of Necromunda's latest footage. Let's get the show on the road, and then we will have a breakdown and discussion afterwards. Enjoy.
Welcome to Necromunda, an impossibly massive hive city of winding corridors, lawless humanity, and gang warfare. In savage third-person tactical battles, claim dominance and glory for your house, defeat your enemies, and triumph. Underhive Wars is a tactical RPG where you control a gang of custom-made fighters from one of three great houses as they vie for control and resources. The three houses, with their gangs, are Orlok, Goliath, and Escher. The Orloks are industrious gunfighting range specialists. The Escher are all women and deadly agile melee fighters. And the Goliaths are humongous, gene-forged monsters of men. There are dozens and dozens of ways to customize every ganger with weapons, skills, armors, stat priorities, rank, class, and house-specific perks and upgrades, and much more. Choose how your fighters play, from silent snipers popping heads and severing limbs at long range, to brutal melee warriors hacking at their enemies in close combat. Cosmetic customization goes just as far, with infinite variations for each and every gang and fighter. Shoulder pads, knee guards, chest plates, boots, piercings, hair, along with color scheme variations, can all be customized on a gang or individual level. Your gang will never look the same as another. In combat, Underhive Wars is a game of freedom and verticality. Each class has its own series of choices to make. Should a saboteur stay back and find edge angles to apply their skills? Or go in guns blazing to secure the best spot and scupper enemy plans? Will your leader use their superior skills to take out enemies, or buff their allies with rousing speeches or threats? The options are endless. Medicae stations, bridges and lifts, abandoned cargo containers, zip lines, gas traps, hazardous materials, cogitator terminals. The Underhive is full of decisions to make to outsmart opponents. If all else fails, you can outgun them with deadly weapons, grenades, flamethrowers, rivet cannons, saw blade guns, and outposition them from higher ground with tactical advantages. Don't forget to analyze the weaknesses in your opponent's gear to cause greater damage. With permanent injuries for your gang if you take too many hits, these decisions truly matter. Between battles, your gangers gain experience to spend on stats, skills, perks, and more, while the riches of your gang as a whole let you purchase weapons, armor, and war gear to equip them. As you grow in infamy and riches, new options for training facilities and special missions will become available to you. All this thrilling action is shared across three main game modes. The story-based campaign mode provides an exciting story of allegiances, betrayal, and violent gang warfare, plus teaches you everything there is to know about Necromunda Underhive Wars. Penned by Necromunda Universe veteran Andy Chambers, it's a wild ride. Operations mode is where you take your own gang to war with permanent rewards and endless evolution. Win glory for your house and take down enemies across the entire Underhive in procedurally generated missions. Finally, there's Breakneck Multiplayer, where you fight players around the world for dominance, glory, and wealth, using your homemade gangs in brutal up to 4-way engagements, competing for the same objective. Build your own gang and fight for wealth and glory when Necromunda Underhive Wars launches on PC, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4, September 8th.
Okay. We have a lot to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. We have a lot to talk about. Let's rewind that back and start to break some of this down. September 8th, God. It's going to come around quickly. So, what I'd like to do now is have a little discussion with you and talk through some thoughts and feelings from this breakdown, the individual scenes, and hopefully some of you will stick around to do so. Let's bring the volume down just a little bit, so I believe it is dear old Ben won't be talking over the top of me. Nice editing, by the way. Very much enjoyed that. Right, let's see what we're looking at. Okay, so far just similar to previous trailers. Right, first piece of in-game animation, I guess you can call it. We can get a decent sense of the HUD here. Now this, if we have a look at the X to jump, triangle for tactical, square for offensive, that looks like a PlayStation controller to me. I have to say, the map actually does look quite tasty. Quite tasty. I like the little... I like the aesthetic to the HUD at least. It's fairly minimal, but still sort of stylized enough. The health bar's not like immediately visible, but we've got our action points and our movement points down there in the bottom left. It's clean though. It's clean and looks nice. I'm not sure where all the debuffs will be located, presumably around the character, but so far this sort of looks pretty reasonable. And we can see we've got little dialogue banners up in the top left. I don't know if they'll be voiced. I really hope they will be, because it would just be really nice to have actual audio voice acting during the game at some points. That would be great, other than just cutscenes, of course. Right, flame effect, looking good. Hand flamer, has he got two of them? He's actually got two of them. Note, not firing both at the same time, but still pretty damn cool. I like the flame effect. In terms of the animation, we're going to have some sort of split-second animations here, aren't we? Okay. In terms of animations, I will say they are... my hope is that they almost appear slightly sped up in this. I don't know if they actually are. I don't know if that's true. But everything seems to be flying at you at 100 miles an hour. So I'll be curious to see if these are sort of real-time speeds come the actual game. Yeah, they probably are. Now, bearing in mind that this game was created... This game was created by the makers of Mordheim. I'd suggest checking out their previous product, because I think it sets a bit of one's expectation as to where this game has come from and where it may be moving. Now, firstly, before we say anything more about that, hello Fortress, this is awesome. I really, really look forward to defending this, and even if you have a multiplayer, oh my, what can you imagine a last stand mode with this? You and an ally co-oping to try and defend a fortress against just hordes of enemies attacking. Oh, please, give me the DLC now. But anyway, maybe it wouldn't work, it's turn-based. But anywho, the animations in this seem to be definitely an improvement on Mordheim's. Unquestionably. That being said, though, AAA? I mean, I leave that up to you. I like the running. I like the camera shake with the running too. That's nice. It makes things look nice and sort of dynamic. I don't know what the small shields are in the distance there. I assume that means other players. Probably you can press a button and bring up more details. I would imagine anyway. And here we come to customization. So here we can see what the different specialists are between the gangs. So we're currently seeing Escher, minus 10 AP cost to support consumables. So basically you can use poisons more, which is great. Using a poison melee weapon deals damage skill something target. 15% AP cost of all offensive and melee skills last until end of turn, stackable times 3. Okay, I like that. I like that. That's a cool bonus. Bonus stats, extra agility and max agility, extra melee prowess, and extra intelligence. Let's just compare that with the others to see what else we're cooking here. Oh, come on. Where did you go? Come back here. Stop giving me like one frame of each goddamn clan. So for Goliath, extra... Okay, you can switch weapons more easily. You have minus AP to equip weapon. So that sounds sensible, unless you can't sprint with them, in which case Goliath would be able to sprint around and then draw a weapon. I don't know. For each enemy engaged with user defensive stealth. Okay, nice. Okay, so they get tougher the more people they're fighting against. And that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I like that. Extra toughness, obviously, extra strength and willpower. Kind of makes sense. And do we see a little bit of... Oh, I think we saw a tiny bit of Orlock in there. There we go. Minus AP cost of disengage. So that's going to be quite interesting, actually. So maybe a little bit more of a technical team. Extra ranged aptitude and maxed range, agility and alertness. Okay, so it all seems reasonable. Let's crack on. I love these zip lines, man. They look cool. Like, they're massive maps, right? But at least we may be able to traverse them relatively quickly using these sort of particular choke points. And we know one of the classes too has like a grapple line, which I will say, whichever game you put it in will be entirely physics unimmersifying, because you just zip around defying the laws of gravity. But hey.
Hawks are industrious gunfighting range specialists. The Escher are all women and deadly agile melee fighters. And the Goliaths are humongous, gene-forged monsters of men.
Escher, clearly the coolest. Just going to say that now. Let's move on.
There are dozens and
Right, so this bit needs talking about because the customization, I have to say, seems to be like a massive selling point for this. So not only do we have a guy that looks absolutely awesome straight away with some sort of, is that like a wrist-mounted flamer on his arm? I'm not even sure. Like, I don't know, that could be a screwdriver. This is 40k. Palette colors, lots of palette choices. I really like that.
dozens of ways to customize.
There's just so much to do. And it looks, yeah, okay. Where do we start with unpacking all this? It just looks good. It just looks good. Weapons, kind of looks like the textures haven't loaded for that one. But hey, I'm not going to go into. Let's just not ignore the left shoulder. That is absolutely incredible. I like it. Right, and then we've got the fantastic bright sort of neon colours that are pretty much prevalent within all of Necromunda, as well as various animal prints, which is crazy, and tattoos, which is just marvellous. So I'm very, very happy that in this game, unlike their previous game, we may be able to run around with something that actually feels fairly unique, because, well, if anyone's played Mordheim, you kind of have your 12 colour schemes and they don't mix and match very well. And some of the sets don't even go together anyway. Like, some of the Chaos ones just don't look right across all the units. But this looks like, I mean, not only can you make someone that's a complete hodgepodge that looks like they're in a paintball game from some sci-fi future, like that looks like a one of the imitation firearms that you have to paint yellow because you're under 18, just to show everyone it's not real. It's ridiculous, and it's so Necromunda. I love it. Okay, so here we have Optimus Prime. Still looks like he was missing some textures too. Perhaps this is why they've been a little bit late with the some of the gameplay footage. You can notice a few things that seem a little bit of ironing out perhaps needed. Maybe there was textures. Maybe the textures were just blurry intentionally. But here, this bit's looking amazing, I have to say. Like, looking at this map, firstly, this is like, okay, I'm down with this. We've got nice little UI symbols on here for doors and exits. Presumably that will be where you have to get certain people to extraction points. We've got all sorts, and there's lots more to talk about with regard to the maps, but we need to listen to more. But this is just looking... this is just looking good.
Choose how your fighters play.
I like the running. I would say the heavy weapon people don't seem to be that cumbersome, so they seem very happy zipping around, but hey, what can you do? Okay. So I have something to say here, and this is only like a minor gripe. It's not really a gripe. Well, it is. I'm not gonna lie. I won't sugarcoat it. Okay, well, maybe that was just sped up a little bit, but I can't help but feel that some of the meat has been taken out by having her instantly zip up in a quarter of a second, shoot, and then zip back down. I don't think there's too much of an issue with just slowing that pace down a tiny bit so you get to appreciate that your character's drawing a weapon, firing, going back down. Like, it looks superhuman, and she's not an Astartes, but, you know, she does have fantastic hair, which... Oh my word, look at that. There are little skulls on top of the hair. That is amazing. So maybe that gives her the extra speed. And heck, she is probably juiced up on all sorts of combat stims as well, so... I think that's another good example here of a fight. Perhaps when you add sound to it, it would seem a bit... I don't know. For me, that just seems like a tiny fraction faster than my brain can track. I think maybe if you add sound to it, it would seem right. But either way, like, the animation work in this is leagues above. It is leagues above where Mordheim was, because you have two character models interacting with each other. Are they always going to sync up and look absolutely perfect all the time? What's my expectation on that? No. You know, this isn't a staff team of 500 people that are making this, so I'm expecting things to look a little bit, you know, perhaps rough around the edges if you have an amazing standard. But to be honest,
with infinite variation
For a small dev team, this is looking great.
for each
And I'm not trying to like make that sound like I'm lowering the bar for them. This looks really good. This looks really good.
and every
Oh my word, the color scheme! Can someone just remove the pastel colors from the game, please? If there's one thing that we don't need is pastel colors. The others can stay. Neon is fine.
gang and fighter.
And who was putting pink with or blue with that yellow? What were they thinking? Like minus points for, oh my word, the pigtails. So if that doesn't sell this game, I don't know what will. So we've got a two-handed hammer. We've got something that looks, God knows what that is. Some amazing looking weapons in this. I love the fact that they look like they've all been made within someone's garage, which is it's just great.
Shoulder pads, knee guards, chest plates, boots, piercing.
Okay, whoa. Let's just go back there a second.
Infinite variations for each and every
There's no infinite variations. It looks bloody close though.
pads, knee guard,
Okay, so it looks like there's at least 6 for each.
chest plates,
And that's before you start fiddling around with colours.
boots, piercings, hair, along with color scheme variations,
Nice.
can all be custom.
Off. Okay, well, I'm not going to pause on each of those. I like the... I just like this. This looks good. And I love the battered detail as well. God, it's all looking good. So this guy's got a plasma pistol. I know this is stuff we can give him. So here we can see we've got brute cleavers. There's an auto cannon down low. We've got a las cannon, a spud jacker because you've got to jack the spuds. Plasma pistol, las pistol. Clearly the las pistol would reign king. Oh, and like... These guys just look like monsters. It's great. Okay, I am... Yeah. God damn. It's looking good. It's looking very, very good aesthetically.
In combat, Underhive Wars is a game of freedom and
So this was their tactical map, and I'm not sure if this is something you bring up during the game. I assume so. We're waiting for Knuckle Boys. So, okay, this is what you might see during the enemy's turn by the sounds of it. So the enemy's taking their turn right now. And I assume you'd press a button to sort of toggle in and out of this. So that's nice to give you a much better overlay than you got in Mordheim. And hopefully the deployment system is nice and smooth in this. And I assume... that these little bits down here, I could be wrong, I'm going to assume that these are deployment zones. I'm going to assume with that. So you're not going to have fannying about for 20 minutes deploying, and you can see this one here, which I'm going to call it a deployment zone, but I could be wrong, is blue, and so is a guy in it. So I'm assuming that's where our player has placed their stuff. Perhaps. Perhaps not, but I think a reasonable assumption. Awesome.
is a game of freedom and verticality. Each class has its own series.
Okay, we got guys taking objectives. That's cool. The fact that we've got objectives in this as well, so they might have to drop them, start shooting stuff. Maybe they're explosive as well, so the people that want to stop them capturing it can shoot them. I don't know, I'm just spitballing ideas here, but yeah, here we go with the physics-denying BS, but you know, you gotta love it. Fucking Arya Stark out of there. Ah, dear. Okay.
Angles to apply their
But let's rewind that because we need to actually listen to what they're saying here because it's quite important by the sounds of things.
Wars is a game of freedom and verticality. Each class has its own series of choices to make. Should a saboteur stay back and find edge angles to apply their skills? Or go in guns blazing to secure the best spot and scupper enemy plans? Will your leader use their superior skills to take out enemies?
Okay. I'm liking all of the look of this. The fact that they've got things on the map that you might be able to use as sort of cheeky leverage on people, that seems like a really cool idea. Will it work? I don't know. Will some things be will some things just be so OP that nothing else gets used? I really hope there's a state of balance where there is sufficient variety for these sort of, let's say, call them strategical choices. Super important, because if just being a Goliath and having a big gun is the strongest thing, then it's not as fun, because you've already been sort of pigeonholed into, you know, no Goliath wants to just be confined to being a big guy with a gun. He wants options in life.
Or buff their allies with
Buff your allies with rousing speeches or insults. That is, I mean, it was going to be in here, right? But it's so cool to have. You could just have your leader being an absolute bitch, and Alita Battle Bitch is going to be my leader, and she is just going to yell at people until they perform outstandingly, and then she will mark them badly just to make them work harder.
The options are endless. Medicaid stations, bridges and lifts.
You can destroy bridges if you didn't see that health bar. Kind of a big deal.
Cargo containers.
Okay. What's in the cargo container? Ah, teammate. Cool. Okay, so I wonder if there'll be loot in cargo containers during multiplayer games. Interesting.
Zip lines, gas traps.
Gas traps, man. Now, will traps be viable in multiplayer? Will people actually run over them, and will they detect them? Because let's face it, traps within more time were just annoying. Within this, good lord, if you can actually block off a zone and force someone to be like, I don't want to run through there, there's traps everywhere. Or just to run through there and get trapped to death, that would be great.
Hazardous materials, cogitator terminal.
Let's see, because I don't think that person actually saw what was there. Oh, hello, Facebook. Doing. Right, no, there was a little thing on the floor. Okay, and that person got some extra stuff from the terminal. What did you get? Sorry about the pausing. Okay, they got action points and movement points. Okay, and some bonus stuff.
Decisions to make to outsmart opponents. If all else fails,
that arm frickin' saw, buzz saw thing, I'm just going to call it a 40k multi-tool, looks amazing. I'm so down.
Gun them with deadly weapons, grenades, flamethrowers, rivet cannons, saw blade guns, and outposition.
Okay, right, I've changed my view again. I think all of these animations have been sped up for the sake of making this look more action-orientated. And it's a turn-based game, right? How do you make turn-based games look really interesting and sell them? It's really hard, because at the end of the day, they're slow and methodical and more fun to play than they are to watch. Because if you want to really get into a turn-based game, you need a lot of time to sit down. You can't sit there for 5 minutes and be like, oh my god, that seemed amazing. It's quite hard to sell, so I wouldn't be surprised if this is sped up a little bit.
Them from higher ground with tactical advantages.
But maybe not.
To analyze the weaknesses in your opponent's gear.
Right. Here's a prophecy, because what I really don't want to see, I don't know, maybe this won't happen, is a multiplayer game when you sneak up on someone and you're there about to shoot and you're like, hang on a second, let me just get my encyclopedia out and study them. So I don't know if there'll be timers, etc., or anything like that, but it would be a little bit perhaps detrimental to the pace of a game if someone ends up sitting there for ages studying and being, oh, I want to go for this, no, I want to go for that, would it be better for this? That for me will be like, please just hurry up and kill my person so I can leave.
Cause greater damage. With permanent injuries for your gang if you
Okay, they didn't seem sped up. And this person is running ridiculously fast.
take too many hits.
Just echelon speed.
Matter. Between battles, your gangers gain experience to spend on stats, skills, perks, and more, while the riches of your gang.
Let's go back to those perks. I don't know anymore if these are sped up or not. So what do we got here? We got passives. Some of the animations look too quick to me and others look perfect. So I don't know if some are sped up or whether I'm maybe just my brain's failing on me. So we've got take two awareness, height advantage, eagerness. So height advantage you can guess at. Bonus to hit for being higher up. Defensive landing, when you jump down, you're going to get bonus to defensive stuff for a bit. Repositioning, God knows what that is. Eagerness plus initiative, I guess. Let me get him. Plus awareness, fairly obvious. And take two. I'm guessing that's a bonus. Ah, take two. That looks like a fist. So it looks like if you punch someone once, you get to punch them another time for a discount. Let's find out by looking over on the right-hand side. Activates after attack is evaded. Ah, okay, nice. Requires performing a ranged attack. Oh, okay. Right, so someone dodges your shot. You shoot them again. Defensive landing. Plus melee evasion after doing ascension or jump. Cool. And here we go. So we got jolt seeds, so that's some sort of drink. Melter grenades, cool. Frag grenades, cool too. Missing string, cool. Okay.
Let you purchase weapons.
So I wonder if we're going to have a lot of quality of loot to factor in. I don't think that's something we've seen too much of. So you've not got like, I don't know, green, purple, blue gear, etc., like a grind fest. But and that's not me complaining about the lack of that either. But I wonder if there'll be a bit of like if a bolter will be a bolter, or if there are different types of bolter or quality of bolter. Okay, let's have a look. So there doesn't seem to be anything that indicates a difference in modification for items. I'm not complaining about that at all, but I'm just speculating.
As you grow in infamy and riches, new options for
Okay, choose which facilities will appear in the sector's HQ, so you can choose what you stick in and you can see what you get. Each shift gain extra medical consumables of rank blah blah blah. When injured, increases the maximum miracle recovery by 20%. So there's some really cool stuff in here that you can use to basically customize your base effectively. That's a really nice touch, because then it's not only about managing your warband, but it's managing your warband. So I'm going to keep calling it that, even though it's a gang, I know, but managing that alongside your facilities. I think that's just so cool. And then we've got all of this stuff too, which I don't even know what this is. Bunch of missions to select. Okay. And you can choose easy, normal, hard, very hard, ambushers, hooligans. I wonder if they'll have the same ambush mechanics that they did have on the previous game, where basically if you go for brutal or deadly, then the game can just kind of flip a coin, and if it gets the thing it wants to get, you're just a bit screwed. It'd be really interesting to see though, and also to see what the different rewards are. Nice. You can see how many enemies you're seeing, enemy crew rating. Okay, so crews will have a rating. That's going to be a useful mechanic when it comes to doing multiplayer. That's nice to see.
Special missions will become available to you. All this thrilling action is shared across 3 main game modes. The story-based campaign mode provides an exciting story of allegiances, betrayal, and violent gang warfare, plus teaches you everything there is to know about Necromunda Underhive Wars. Penned by Necromunda universe veteran Andy Chambers, it's a wild ride. Operations mode is where you take your own gang to war.
Right, let's see this. So operations mode, this is effectively skirmish mode. I know he's going to finish that sentence in a moment, but I just want to say so. So we've got the various factions on the left-hand side. We can see the rewards, completion reward as well. You can choose to abandon the sector and just sort of give up on it. And retrieval archaeotech, cool. And yeah, that looks like a free-for-all. Cool, and you can see the individual warband ratings here. Gang ratings, I know.
Win glory for your house and take down enemies across the entire Underhive in procedurally generated.
Not the best death animation from the last gun, but not like the melee animations look spot on in this, I will say. They look really cool, with some of them look incredibly speedy, but the melee ones look really cool. I know it's really hard to make people react to gunfire and sort of to have that work perfectly, because especially when you've got so many different guns, but I would say the melee animations for me seem to stand out.
There's breakneck multiplayer, where you fight players around the world for dominance.
There's your spawn system. Wow, okay, so these two teams have basically said, you know what, let's just spawn in each other's faces. So I'll spawn here, you spawn there. Wow, okay. So there's me right-clicking as if I could actually rotate the camera. God, I'm a spanner. That's really interesting. So that might be... Maybe they're on the same team, but I don't think so. You take it in turns to deploy a unit. We kind of know that already. Finding tools and aid retrieving the defunct machinery. Find the secure machinery parts. Okay. So this may be a case of both teams just running to do so, or choosing to fight each other. Interesting. Because when it comes to spawning, yeah, they're right next to each other. Ah! Hello, stealth mechanic. Stealthy. Well, maybe the opacity is there just because they are currently behind an object. That could be why. It might be more of just a camera thing. Let's just see if they had any bonuses to hit from being sneaky. Oh my word. Can you give me more than a nanosecond with that? There we go. God, reactions of a ninja. So we got double tap. We've got a... That does look like the sneaky shot on the left there. You can see an eye symbol down here, which I assume means that's some sort of like stealth bonus. Maybe not, but I like the idea of being able to be somewhat subtle with some characters too. That seems like a cool idea.
Your own gang and fight for wealth and glory when Necromunda Underhive Wars launches on PC, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4.
Okay, that's cool. And we just have to go back and check out, the hell is this? The hell is that?
For wealth and glory when
Okay, something. Okay, so that's got to be something plot related, because that looks like something on a table with all sorts of energy swirling around it and looking nasty. Well, ladies and gentlemen, hope you've enjoyed my half an hour long go through of this, good lord. But hey, we wanted to break it down and have a little look-see. To me, how's the game looking? It looks so much better than Moretime did. And it looks so much better than Moretime does, even, which is great, because quite a few people, at least, still enjoyed some aspects of Moretime, and now we're faced with a game that genuinely seems like a vast improvement over it. And yet, it may not be the real-time action game that some people would like to have in 40k. It's a turn-based product. It may not be as AAA as people want, but it seems like a good step, a really big step forward for the studio. Like, this is quality-wise, like, leagues above their previous product. So I think it looks great. I'm definitely going to be playing this for months. This is going to be the sole focus of my channel for the foreseeable future. So I'm hype, I'm down, I'm in a great mood, and I hope you are too. And on that note, I will see you again in the future. Take care.